Welcome to this week's edition of Rebel Watch. I'm your host, Kelsey Davison. Joining me is Nick Dunavant and a new face, Max McCann. Are y'all ready to get into some football?
Let's do it.
All right, well then let's get right into it. Ole Miss took on the Alabama Crimson Tide here at home. They're looking for that third win in a row over Saban. Let's roll those highlights. Now, as we said, it's Alabama and Ole Miss in the Vaught. The crowd looks great in the first ever powder blue game.
Here we see Coach Saban having a tough time getting Coach Free the past couple of years. Let's see what happens.
And, you know, just like 2 weeks ago, Ole Miss gets out to another fast start, capped off by a Team Judd's 22-yard run. It was 7-0 with under 2 minutes still only in the game. And Ole Miss is already on top 7-0.
A little bit of celebration back there. That Alabama player does not look happy, but the Rebs fan do. Now, fake pitch from Kelly to a long pass to Evan Ingram for the 63-yard touchdown.
That fake by Kelly, the whole Alabama defense bit. Ingram was wide open in the end zone. Great play.
Now here comes Marquise Haynes off the edge and destroys the Alabama quarterback.
That hurt.
Man, and John Youngblood takes it all the way back. At this point, there's only 2 minutes left to go in the half. The Rebels are up 24-3. Things were looking great.
Jalen Hurst needs an ice bath after that hit. That was a huge hit.
Now here we have Will Gleason on the punt to Eddie Jackson for the Tide, and he's going to take it back a little bit. He's going through that special teams defense real easy, and he's going absolutely all the way. Gleason can't get him. He's going all the way for the touchdown for the Tide.
Poor coverage by Ole Miss special teams. You just can't let that happen, especially against an Alabama team like this.
Now open up the second half here. Keller drops back to pass, but his pressure at the very end is stripped and fumbled to the football. Alabama covers it, and all of a sudden it's a tie football game, and there's a lot of time left. Things all of a sudden unravel for Ole Miss.
And again, we talked about how important turnovers would be. Kelly to Jonathan Allen, who takes it back for another 6 points
Look at the
for the Tide. Look at him go.
Quincy Adeboyejo had a chance to catch him here and maybe get him to fumble the football. That just didn't happen.
And a little bit of celebration from the Tide. Now they have an onside kick. It wasn't done for the Rebs yet. They get on the end of it as Van Jefferson falls on that. It's Rebels ball.
On the very next play, we have Chad Kelly, 37 yards out. He's going to find A.J. Brown in the end zone. He just leaps over the defender. I'll take that and score.
Great point high in the football.
And just like that, it's a one-possession game, and Ole Miss just has to have one stop against Bama to get the ball back.
And here is the Rebels' last chance at the game. The Alabama fans are not happy. Fumble on the play, but unfortunately for the Rebels, Alabama falls on it, and that was their last shot.
Alabama wins the game 48-43. A tough fight for Ole Miss, but they come up short.
Let's hear what head coach Hugh Freeze had to say after the game.
Yeah, I'm really proud of that football team. I think that we're so short-handed on defense right now, and for the effort that the young kids gave today, I was real pleased. We as coaches have got to do a better job of helping our young men understand that the value of every single play within the course of a game has the same weight, and we'll measure that in the outcome when you're playing, you know, a top team in the country.
All right, guys, now Ole Miss has blown 2 big leads against top 5 teams early this season, 28-13 on FSU at half and 24-3 on Alabama, but both opposing teams came storming back to beat the Rebels. So, Nick, talk to me about what adjustments Ole Miss needs to make going forward.
Kelsey, Ole Miss has to be aggressive at all times, and I have a crazy stat. In the last 10 seasons, Ole Miss is the only FBS team to be up 20 points in a game and then lose that game twice in the same season. And it's only week 4. That's just a total collapse.
That's not
Ole Miss
good.
has been outscored 40-3 alone in the third quarter in their 2 losses. The Rebels have to find a way to come out strong in the second half, Kelsey.
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. That is a shocking and terrible stat. So, Max, what do you think the answer is to the Rebels' second half woes?
Kelsey, we have to take up more time of possession. The defense gets tired in the second half because it's on the field the whole game. On offense, if we're out of sync, slow it down, mix it up a little bit, give our defense a break. If they can sustain some longer drives, run the football, they can beat Georgia pretty easily next week.
I hear you. And this week, I had the chance to go behind the scenes and take a look at what goes on behind the scenes at CBS Sports. Let's take a look.
The first stop on our tour of the compound was the graphics truck, where they make every stat, score, and graphic you see during the game. One of the things we didn't know is that they come with a list of graphics that are all made just in case, but most won't be pulled for the game. Next, we went over to audio and got a little preview of what the beginning of the game will sound like and how all that happens. And they even let me on a little bit of the fun as I learned to run the replay machine, but I doubt I'll be taking over the reins anytime soon. So much work goes into behind the scenes, but we had a blast with CBS Sports Stop in Oxford.
We also had a little bit of controversy at the game this weekend. There were some Dixie signs and flags that made it into the stadium, so let's take a look at those. So as you guys just saw, these Mississippi State flags and Dixie signs made it to the game, and UPD did end up taking them away. So give me your take on it.
I really don't think it should be a big story. If you go to the website for Ole Miss Sports, the official Vaught-Hemingway official policy is banners may not be brought into Vaught-Hemingway except those approved by Ole Miss management. And the reason? Banners or poles can disrupt the view of other fans, and Ole Miss must ensure that it honors its corporate sponsors. I don't care if you bring a Dixie flag, a Mississippi State flag, a flag with Ronald McDonald on it. I don't care. This isn't your front yard. You don't get to display your own banners. Respect the policy. Just follow the rules and don't bring in any flags or anything controversial.
I couldn't agree with you more, Max.
You know what? I'm going to have to agree with Nick on this one. I was at the game. I saw a few flags with sticks on them in the front rows. I mean, the policy has been no flag sticks for about 20 years now. So, you know, just as Nick said, this really isn't a big deal. Just follow the rules. Watch football, you know. Don't make this a political issue.
You guys couldn't be more right. And coming up later in the show, we have a very influential student, and we'll see that right when we get back. Keep it here on RebelWatch.
One of the things that we know about reading, particularly in the K through 3 area, is that's when you are learning to read. Then we know that once you hit 3rd grade, that's when you're reading to learn.
When parents spend time with their kids, those kids tend to be more and more successful.
Being a strong reader, it impacts our state's economy, and it also ensures that our students are able to have meaningful lives.
I remember as a small boy from Moorhead, Mississippi, the rest of the world became alive when I started reading.
My name's Reggie. Just recently, my wife and I took in her sister's children. Now, we already had 4, so I went from becoming a family man to a man with a bigger family. Now, you can't eat love, so I don't know how I'm gonna feed them tonight. How was that, Reg?
I think I look more like Denzel.
That's cold, man.
It's Hunger Action Month, so click share below to pass along this video and play your role in ending hunger.
Kelsey. That was when the Rebels took on the Dogs back in 2012, and it did not go so well for Ole Miss, but it's a new year, it's 2016, so let's break down this game. Now, the Georgia Bulldogs will be in town, as I said, but they're coming into the game with a very weak secondary, and the receiving corps is really one of Ole Miss's offensive strong points. So, Max, tell me what they need to do to stop those powerful Ole Miss receivers.
Kelsey, I don't know if Georgia can do a whole lot. Stringfellow and H.A. Brown and company did a really good job of high-pointing up the football against Alabama. You know, Georgia, on the other hand, couldn't even stop a QB who was pretty bad last year. And if Georgia truly wants to stop Kelly and company, they're going to have to blitz a lot and hope that they can force some turnovers. Juwan Briscoe, the Bulldogs cornerback, already has 2 interceptions on the year. He's going to have a big game for the Dogs if they want to win.
Right, I couldn't agree with you more. Now let's talk about the other side of the ball. You have superstar running back Nick Chubb, but a little bit more of a question mark in true freshman quarterback Jacob Eason. So, Nick, how do you see this Dog offense matching up with the Landshark D?
So, obviously, Nick Chubb is the backbone of Georgia's offense. He had 200 yards against North Carolina to win. He struggled against Nicholls State, Missouri, had less than 100 yards. But when Chubb goes off, the defense is drawn in, which gives Jacob Eason a chance to throw long and gives a chance for the deep ball to happen. But none of that will matter if the Georgia O-line struggles. They were bullied in earlier games, allowing pressure in the backfield. And the Landshark D could put the hammer down on Georgia, and the Dogs could be in trouble if the Landshark D really is aggressive.
I couldn't agree with you more. And speaking of Nick Chubb, we asked our Twitter followers if they thought the Landshark D would be up to the challenge of stopping Georgia's dangerous run game. 69% of you said yes, the Landshark D is going to shut that down. And 31% of you said, nah, Nick Chubb is absolutely going to run all over the bot. So the majority seems to say the Rebs will hold up, but we'll have to watch and see. And when we come back, our workhorse David Kennedy catches up with a special guest. Keep it here.
One of the things that we know about reading, particularly in the K through 3 area, is that's when you are learning to read. Then we know that once you hit 3rd grade, that's when you're reading to learn.
When parents spend time with their kids, those kids tend to be more and more successful.
Being a strong reader, it impacts our state's economy, and it also ensures that our students are able to have meaningful lives.
I remember as a small boy from Moorhead, Mississippi, the rest of the world became alive when I started reading.
My name's Reggie. Just recently, my wife and I took in her sister's children. Now, we already had 4, so I went from becoming a family man to a man with a bigger family. Now, you can't eat love, so I don't know how I'm gonna feed them tonight. How was that, Reg?
I think I look more like Denzel.
That's cold, man.
It's Hunger Action Month, so click share below to pass along this video and play your role in ending hunger.
Welcome back to RebelWatch. I'm David Kennedy. Joining me today is Jack Ford, CBS 60 Minutes sports correspondent. Jack, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure, David. Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to come down to Ole Miss.
Right. Now, you know, the NCAA sometimes gets a bad rap when they don't always deserve it. Sometimes college football fans, student athletes, students, you know, just the public, you know, kind of sees the NCAA sometimes as the bad guy. Why do you think that is, and how can it be fixed?
It's interesting, but you're right. That is an image that the NCAA has. Full disclosure, I've done work with the NCAA before on their committees. I host some of their events. I travel around and give talks where I talk I speak not for the NCAA because I'm not an employee, I'm not given talking points, but I speak about the NCAA, having been involved in it. And one of the things I say is, look, they do a lot of things really, really well. It's important to have an NCAA. It's the umbrella organization for 1,100 colleges and universities. But the reality is, if you're trying to get one voice for 1,100 colleges and universities, it's virtually impossible. And the NCAA, the entity, the NCAA, doesn't make the rules. They're made by those 1,100 colleges and universities. So for instance, the president of the NCAA can't wake up tomorrow morning and say, you know what, I don't like the rule that we have on time allotments for our student athletes. So as of tomorrow, here's the new rule. Can't do it. Might want to lobby for that, but has to go to the various divisions and the presidents and the committees and the councils and say, we need you all to take a look at this and decide what the reality should be. So it's a cumbersome organization, but it's a necessary organization. And the reality is, when things go wrong, people tend to want to look for somebody to blame. It's human nature. And the NCAA has done some things that have not been the right way to do it. I'd mentioned the Penn State case, how they handled it a couple of years ago. I would have handled it differently if I was involved. But the fact of the matter is, the vast majority of what the NCAA does is helpful to the almost 500,000 student athletes each year that participate. But you can see why, if you're the target of an investigation, at Ole Miss, or if you feel that somehow the penalties given to other institutions have been too different from each other. I can see why people would take a look at it, and they're going to say to the NCAA, you're not doing the job right.
Now, Jack, for the first time that you've been in Oxford, Mississippi, you've seen Ole Miss lose a game. And, do you think Ole Miss, now that they've started off the season 1-2, they could make a legitimate case and be like, you know what, let's just give ourselves a bowl ban this year and try to ease the impending doom that a lot of people believe are coming to the program?
That's an interesting political thought, David. It's sort of Machiavellian on your part there. It's, as you said, I had a great string going. I was here 2 years ago when Ole Miss beat Alabama. It was a great game. I've seen them win all sorts of games. You start off with 2 losses in this conference and in this division, it's going to be a problem for you. Does that mean that you can't finish up a season, conceivably regular season 10-2? You have some other good people you have to beat, or even if you end up 9-3, even if you end up 8-4. That, by most standards, that's a really good season. By what Ole Miss wants to be now and where they've been flirting with lately, you could see where that'd be a little bit disappointing. Would they want to sit down and say, you know what, let's add an additional penalty here? Because the reality is that, and again, having sat on the Division I Committee on Infractions, not being involved at all with Ole Miss, I don't know anything more about the Ole Miss case than you know from what you've seen. But it might be, if I was advising Ole Miss, I might say, you've already stepped forward and accepted some self-imposed sanctions here. You may well be disputing some of the things that come down the pike, who knows? But it might be an interesting thought to say, look, if we're going to look at a bowl sanction, why don't we self-impose right now, and a time when odds are we're not going to one of the top bowls. We could still go to a very interesting bowl, but maybe this is the time we should bite the bullet. It's an interesting concept.
Now, Ole Miss fans, are a little bit, they feel the NCAA might be kind of out to get them, especially with a lot of the timing. Whether it's the day before signing day, they get a huge USA Today press release about the team and all the allegations they have against them, or it's the NCAA going out and interviewing former recruits at Mississippi State or Auburn. Do you think moves like this, are worth it for the NCAA to perform, or does it just hurt their reputation even?
If I was an Ole Miss fan and didn't know the process, I'd probably be angry too. I'd be saying, why are you doing this now? Why has this happened now? And the fact is, if you're an investigator, you have to go where the facts might take you. And the fact that they're giving immunity and talking allegedly, because I don't know for sure, to other student athletes from other institutions, including rivals, about their recruiting process, well, it sounds like something came across their desk that suggested there might be a problem. It doesn't mean because they're talking to these people, there are going to be charges coming out of it. Maybe there will, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, it's a long and difficult and cumbersome process where their resources are fairly limited. The NCAA has gone on record as saying this is one of the things we have to get better at. We have to get better at speed, because there's an expression in the justice system that justice delayed is justice denied. Well, it sort of applies here too. So I know they're working on it. I know that that doesn't mean that Ole Miss fans are not going to feel that this has been handled unfairly. But I think the reality is we have to wait to see what comes out of this before we can get a better sense of it.
I agree, Jack. Thank you so much for coming and speaking to the journalism school and doing this interview with us.
My pleasure.
Coming up on our next segment of RebelWatch, Kelsey Davis and company will break down the Lafayette Commodores' latest game Friday night here in Oxford. We'll be right back.
The true spirit of Mississippi lies in the fact that there are everyday heroes in every community. People who reach out to their neighbors in time of need, even when those needs aren't always apparent.
Regardless of their backgrounds or differences, Mississippians lead by example in their communities. In schools, churches, animal shelters, nonprofits, and through national and military service. Through our actions, we teach others, including our children.
Every Mississippian can make a difference. Please join our family and other groups across the state in a year-round pledge to invest our hearts and hands in constructive acts of service and charity.
Visit volunteermississippi.org to take the pledge.
And learn more about how you can make a difference in our great state.
Volunteer, Mississippi.
Meet Lyle. Lyle's a smart guy about to do something really dumb.
Oh, I love this game. How many words? Give me a sounds like. Do something different. I'm just not getting it.
Look, I'm no expert, but have you guys ever played charades?
Oh.
Fire prevention is everyone's responsibility. Obey all burn bans. Trim overhanging tree limbs. Don't keep firewood or other.
Welcome back to RebelWatch. Now, the Lafayette Commodores took on Louisville this past Friday. Let's roll the highlights.
Lafayette came off a great win last week against the Chargers, snapping a 4-game winning streak. There's the coach for Lafayette, hoping to get another win over Louisville tonight.
And they're coming out of the tunnel ready for this game. Now, Will Ard comes with a TD pass to Tyler Carmichael Williams. Goes down the field for putting up 7 for the Commodores.
Now, Jamarcus Squirrels, there goes that man again. Had over 200 yards last week. Here he goes on a long run, and it puts Lafayette comfortably ahead in this one.
Next, we have Jamarcus Squirrels. He says, you know what, I'm going to score another one. And he's going to run. Right now, he's just celebrating, but now he's going to run. He's going to take it. Oh, tell that defender, I'll see you later. He's going all the way.
In the past 2 games, he has just not been able to be stopped. Now, here we have Will Ard dropping back, and again, he's going to find Tyler Carmichael Williams down the side. A great catch in the end zone for a touchdown for the Doors.
Now to end off, we got Lafayette running back Jamie Shaw scoring here from 10 yards out. Lafayette has somewhat of an offensive identity now. Things look good going forward.
Just a dominating performance by the Commodores. They win with a final score of 42-7. 2-game win streak after starting off 0-2. They defeat Louisville.
Let's take a look at the post-game report.
Watch post-game report. I have here with me, to my right, Lafayette's quarterback Will Ard, and to my left, the running back Jamarcus Squirrels. First question is for you, Will. You guys have improved to 2-2 on the season, and you threw for, I think, three touchdowns and well over 200 yards passing. How do you feel you guys basically can improve?
I mean, we can improve
improve each week. I mean, we're just getting better and better. Offensive line's getting better. I mean, when Mark runs the ball like he does, that opens up the passing game. And I'm just throwing a little slant, and Tyler Williams is taking it to the house. I mean, that's just, you can't really ask for much more from him. We're just going to keep getting better and better.
All right, thank you. Also, Jamarcus, man, in back-to-back weeks, you've rushed for well over 150 yards and multiple touchdowns. You guys host Charleston next week. So, what do you think you guys can do to get better as far as preparing for Charleston?
We just got to bulk up that line because Charleston is a physical team. We played them last year. They got some big dudes. Linebackers really big. So we just bulk up the line. As long as we got the line, we got the pullers pulling. Firing on our cylinders, we good. And with Will Hard, he gonna give it to me. If he see it, he gonna pull it. If he don't see it, he gonna keep it and throw it. So I feed off Will.
All right, thank you guys. I'm Fred Nettles, and this is all we have for you for Rebel Watch postgame report.
All right, guys, you just saw those Lafayette highlights. Nick, Lafayette is on a 2-game win streak after not starting the season so hot, but they're kind of making a little bit of progress here. Could they be gaining momentum at the right time?
I think it's the perfect time. When you start 0-2, that's not ideal.
Right.
But they have 2 straight wins, one against a huge win against rivalry Oxford. They haven't beaten Oxford in 4 years. Oxford has been nationally ranked the past couple seasons. It's a huge win against Oxford. This dominating offense is looking great, but it's still the middle of the season, and quarterback Will Ard has to continue leading this team.
Right. And Max, as I said, they didn't start off so hot. Now they're looking great. What are we supposed to think of the Lafayette Commodores? Could they be for real?
Kelsey, they are for real. Jamarcus Quarles, I saw him last week against Oxford. He is the real deal. Expect to see the Commodores in the playoffs this year, maybe even possibly making a deep run.
That's a bold statement.
Bold.
All right. Now, guys, it is my personal favorite part of the show. Let's make our picks this weekend for the Rebels over the Georgia Bulldogs. Tell me who you got.
Well, Kelsey, I think Ole Miss is going to come out, take a big lead again. Hopefully, the defense steps up, keeps Chubb in check, and I think Ole Miss is going to end up winning 38-20.
I've got Chad Kelly throwing some bombs. Georgia secondary just cannot hold those stud receivers for Ole Miss. I've got Ole Miss 45-24.
And I know I am usually the contrarian on the desk, but I think I'm going to have to actually take the Rebels this week, y'all. Ole Miss is going to take that game 52-21 over the Dogs. Now, we've made our picks, so let's take a look at the top 5 plays of the week from around the state. So as I said, this is the top 5 plays of the week from around Mississippi. Play 5 is Akeem Judd with the first touchdown against the Tide in the first few minutes of the game. The Rebs go up 7-0.
Number 4, pass from Lafayette quarterback Will Ard to wide receiver Tyler Carmichael-Williams. He makes a little shake and bake move, and he's going to get the first touchdown of the game and get the game going.
Back at number 3, Lafayette's Wildcat quarterback throws the ball in the end zone for a touchdown. But again, it's Tyler Carmichael-Williams took the ball and free safety Xavier Martin intercepts the pass.
This is play number 2. Jalen Hurts is sacked, and your Chucky Mullins winner, John Youngblood, is taking it back for the TD for the Rebels.
Play number 1 goes to the Special Olympics unified football game where the Alabama quarterback makes a long pass to receiver. What a one-handed snap for a touchdown.
Wow.
Alabama won 30-20. Huge snack. He should be in the pros.
That's an absolutely great catch, and it's great to see that game and those kids having so much fun. Now to end our morning, there was more than just one big football game in Oxford. Faith Fogarty has the story.
Ole Miss and Alabama didn't just play one football game this weekend. They also played here at the intramural fields, where the unified Ole Miss Rebels took on the unified Alabama Crimson Tide here for the Special Olympics. To these athletes, it's not all about winning. It's about having that experience of representing something bigger than themselves and also representing their university.
Roll Tide!
Let's go!
It's an unbelievable experience knowing that I'm a student at Alabama and I also get to play with the unified team. Just the atmosphere that I didn't know the cheerleaders were coming out. I didn't know football players of Ole Miss were coming out. I mean, it was just a really fun experience to showcase my talents in front of everyone, especially people like that.
I enjoy playing for the Rebels because the Rebels is my home, Rebels is my team.
I didn't see the ball until it was over the guy's head in my arms. So it was a lot of emotions, but when the game started going, you know what they say, big time players make big time plays at big time moments. So.
Mom, I just want to let you know that I love you, and I'm doing all this for you, and I'm doing this all for the rest of my family. And I want everybody to know how proud I am to play for Ole Miss.
These two teams may be rivals, but at the end of the day, they are united. For RebelWatch, this is Faith Fogarty.
Go, Rebel, hotty toddy.
Guys, that absolutely just warms your heart. It's so good to see.
I wish we had some tissues on this desk.
I know.
There's some serious speed on that field, though.
For real, I might cheer up a little bit here, but that's the show today. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at @Rebel_Watch, and then tune into Lafayette Sports Channel 31 every Monday to get your weekend recap of all the sports. Thanks for joining us, and have a good day.